Alright, so we're pretty much finishing up picks and bans here. Once those are done, we're going to go through all the final team compositions, predictions, anything else we can. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask in chat. This is a great time for us to be able to get through all those questions and answer anything that we can. Jinx is pretty awesome, I'll give him that. So yeah, I do turn off the music during the workshops themselves. That way you guys can hear me a little bit easier, and so that the videos don't get flagged by YouTube, because then they get restricted in certain areas, and it's just a whole rigmarole. Alright, so we are finished picks and bans. Blue team has banned out Jax, Blitzcrank, and Vi. I really don't like seeing Blitzcrank banned. He's pretty weak in terms of supporting right now. I would say there's about 4 or 5 supports who do the job better than him right now. And, yeah, he's just not that strong at the moment. On Purple Team, they've banned out Master, Yi, LeBlanc, and Leona. I'm still seeing a lot of Yi bans, especially in lower elo. Since the Feral Flare changes, honestly, I don't think he's worth a ban. I mean, he's still strong, he can still do his job, and he's still annoying, but he's still shut down by the same things he was before, such as counter-jungling, CC, kiting, anything that you can, but I just don't see him being that priority of a ban. I'm hoping that people will slowly adjust to that as they climb up through the ratings. In terms of picks, they then have a Garen top, which is a relatively uncommon pick, but definitely will be interesting to watch. Bot lane, they have a Vayne Braum. So if they are able to sort of just protect that Vayne come mid to late game, Braum protects carries better than any support in the game right now. His laning phase, though, is pretty mediocre. So given that Vayne already has a kind of mediocre lane phase, it'll be interesting to see whether or not Braum is really able to help them scale through that and get to that late game stage where that team comp is going to be very potent. In terms of jungle, they then have a J4, still a very strong jungler. I'm hoping that we'll see a little bit more of him. Honestly, he's a good jungler and has been for a long time, but they made him slightly harder to use, and then he was outshined by things like Vi for a really long time and Feral Flare junglers more recently. So now that those have both sort of been knocked back in line, it's really nice to see him being picked up a little bit more. And then Zed mid. Zed mid is still perfectly fine. It's more situational, though. Then that Zed is going to be versus a Lux. Lux, I would really like to see taking heal. There's not really a reason to run Ignite on Lux because it puts you too close. Honestly, there's no reason to run Ignite on Lux. It puts you in too much danger. It's too risky to get in range to actually cast Ignite. You're better off using heal, or if they ever do completely gut heal, then go back to running Barrier like most Luxes would. Then top lane, they have the Rumble versus the Garen, not Gragas. Interesting. I haven't seen that much since his buffs even, and since his skin. No one really plays him. And you can use that to really catch people out and just punish them with the Rumble potency. He is very, very strong. Just people forgot how to play against him. Then bot lane, they have Jinx Thresh. Jinx Thresh is a phenomenal bot lane. Even since the nerfs and now that Lucian is sort of topped here, those two they work so well together. You have your really strong level 2 engage, and it sets up really easy kills. Gangplank jungle, I'm not a fan of. It's probably the best role for him at the moment, that or mid lane, but I don't know. I don't know how well he's going to really be able to set up plays. If he gets ahead, he's very, very strong, but a Gangplank who falls behind really doesn't have that much to offer his team. He has a slight buff, he has a slight AoE slow, and he can bait a little bit with his heal, but he doesn't. It's not as though he has AoE CC. It's not as though he has a revive passive so he can just jump in and suicide to set up kills for his team. He just doesn't offer what a lot of other junglers would. So that is something to keep an eye out for, and I'm just a little bit concerned about. Okay, so I've updated the information on screen. If you guys have any questions about this game, this matchup, anything else, feel free to ask in chat right now, and we'll do what we can to give you guys a hand. That beard on Gangplank? Yes, the beard is very overpowered. I prefer Ghost Gangplank personally, but that's just me. Where's Requeen? I'm not sure what she's up to today. One of my friends, Steven, is probably going to be able to help us with some of the games later in today. We'll see if he's able to join us. Is there any way you can get Left 4 Dead 2? I'm pretty sure you could buy it. I don't know if I have it in my list of giveaways. We have like probably 100 different codes to give away over the next few weeks. So there'll be a lot of different stuff to hand out. Is Blue Team SKT1? Yes, I'm pretty sure they are. I don't see Faker, so maybe he's AFK. There's nothing better than Spooky Gangplank. Even though I really like the Sultan Gangplank skin, Spooky Gangplank is just, I love it. That's why I love it, because it's terrible. Sorry, Brian's yelling at me about how bad it is. How do you get more points? You get 1 point per minute just being in the stream. So it just means that you have to have actually watched a few minutes of the stream in order to enter giveaways. That way people don't make fake accounts and ruin your chances of winning. Because if not, they make like 100 accounts, sign up on all of them, and then no one else wins anything. But yeah, if you guys have questions about this game or comments, feel free to say so in chat. I would love to have something to talk about because these people are taking a little while to load into game. How do you see your points? There's actually no reason to be able to check your points. As long as you've been in the stream for more than 5 to 10 minutes, you can enter pretty much every giveaway we will ever do. Do you have to follow in order to enter the giveaway? It helps, yes. Opinions on Fizz. Fizz is still okay, but he's very, very snowball reliant. He's not nearly as safe in lane as he used to be. He's not as reliable at picking off lone champions either. So he's a risky pick, I would argue. He's still fine. If you play him well, you can achieve great, great success. But he's just not what he used to be, especially with the Lichbane nerfs. It really hurts his mid-game, so... Do I think Thresh is better than Nami, mainly against Braum? Against Braum, you want a poke lane. So I would say something like Karma, Sona, Soraka, Nami to a slight extent. Nami's actually pretty decent versus Braum, I'll give him that. So yeah, you want a poke lane versus Braum. So that answers 2 questions at once, because someone was asking how you play against Braum. You poke him down, you never hard engage. Braum is designed to protect AD carries from hard engage lanes. And that's why everyone hates him right now. Everyone's like, GG, I don't know, he's so OP, I don't know how to play against him. And the reason is because so many people are used to just playing hard engage bot lanes. That doesn't work versus Braum. You need to play a passive poke lane. And that will make you win the lane pretty easily, actually. Top supports in current patch. That would be Thresh, Morgana, Karma, Braum. And then like second tier but still very good would be like Nami, Leona, Zyra to a lesser extent. But yeah, there's a lot of really bad supports right now, mostly like Alistar, Taric, where they just don't really have a point. There's not much reason to play them. Do your points reset if you close your browser? No. What about the matchup of Braum versus Vayne? Braum versus Vayne. Yeah, I would think Vayne should be able to kill Braum, but it really boils down to the supports. Is there any way to rewatch my games? All of my games are recorded on Twitch. All of the workshops are uploaded to YouTube. If you're talking about watching your own games, LOL replay is usually broken, but it's still the best option, really.
Minions have spawned.
Braum versus Zyra. Zyra destroys Braum. Again, any poke lane is going to destroy Braum. That's the point of a poke lane versus him. Do your points reset if you're a time traveler? Yes, they multiply exponentially, then divide by 0, crash the giveaway system, and then no one gets anything. Alright, so we see pretty standard starts coming out from both sides here. Interesting to me, though, that Thresh is running a Doran's Shield versus a lane that doesn't auto-attack you much. Vayne is not a lane bully. It's not like you're versus a Caitlyn Lulu or something like that. And Braum is a melee range. He's not going to auto-attack you. So the only purpose of Doran's Shield at this time is to block auto-attacks. So I don't agree with that choice on his part. I've mentioned before I dislike starting Tarragons, but with a Vayne I like it because you get that little bit of extra sustain, a little bit more secure ability to last hit. And yeah, I like that start in this lane matchup, but in a more aggressive lane I would prefer Ruby Crystal so that I have more combat stats that I'm able to just sort of get in range, set up a kill, and then go get a really, really early Sightstone. It's a very aggressive play coming out from Zed here. It's worth noting that Lux has wasted a very large amount of her mana, so she cannot afford to do that. If she continues to waste mana like this, she's going to be a complete sitting duck. Like, as you see there, she dropped E on herself and is now pretty much I want to keep just a little bit of an eye on bot lane. I would expect Jinx to be playing quite aggressively in this lane with the Thresh there as backup to sort of disengage any attempts at fighting. Doesn't seem that that's what they're going for. They're just sort of passively farming. I would have... I think that Thresh should have auto-attack, flayed, auto-attacked, and then he could follow up with a hook if he needed. During that entire fight, Jinx would have been able to land 3 or 4 auto-attacks as well, and that would have got about half of the enemy team's health. And then they would have had the option to still clean up. Very good disengage by Braum. Like that overall. Yeah, so Lux completely out of mana. You can't play like that versus a caster. I would also warn her against going an early... Yeah, good harass coming out, sorry. I'd warn her against going an early Chalice, because if you go Chalice, well, Zed's just going to kill you. You need that early arm guard so that you can survive some of his harass. Up top lane, I haven't really had a chance to look at it too much. They're pretty much dead even in CS. Interesting choice on Garen, going with the Null Magic Mantle. I'm assuming he's getting an early Hex Drinker, that's what it's called. Hex Drinker or Merc Tread, something that's going to build out of that early. That's going to reduce his kill potential slightly. I also don't like the Doran's Shield start on Rumble. That being said, he doesn't have that many other options, but Garen is not an auto-attacker. He's a spin-to-win champion, so... You build Doran's Shield versus people who auto-attack harass, and neither of these Doran's Shields are having that effect. We do have an RP giveaway. It's every Sunday at 3 PM Eastern Time, so at the end of this game we're going to be starting an RP giveaway. So lanes are pretty passive right now. No one's really getting a huge advantage besides Zed with his CS advantage. Ooh, very nice engage coming in from Gangplank. Not quite able to finish that off. Red buff for... No, last tick doesn't take him down. The red buff does get him to 4 health, though. Good counter gank coming in from J4. Not able to clean it up, but he does get Gangplank's flash. That reduces a lot of his kill potential for sure. Sorry, I see a lot of questions popping up in chat. It's a little bit difficult to answer those while we're in the middle of shoutcasting a match. I generally will ask at the beginning of end of each match for you guys to ask questions, game-related questions. I would prefer if you guys are able to wait for that. That would be awesome. So is she going a tier build? That seems odd. Hey, they get the exhaust. That's actually a really big advantage because if you have no exhaust to shut down Vayne in her level 6 fight, she's going to kill you. If she gets condemned, if they get any sort of a stun, boom, that's a dead AD carry, support, whoever she decides to go on. Alright, not quite able to land all her last hits. Pretty dead even in bot lane, and that's really not what you want to see happening with a Vayne. Vayne needs to be shut down early, or she's going to be an issue. Alright, back mid lane, Lux still shoving, using a lot of mana. She's not quite at the moment. I would like to see Zed going early lifesteal. That completely cancels out any harass that's going to come in from Lux, and just makes any trade a winning trade. Because, well, she doesn't have support. Sorry, she doesn't have sustain. They're words. Back top lane, still pretty much dead even in CS. I would expect that to go in Rumble's favor. Garen is a lane bully. He needs to be able to set up some early plays. I'm not seeing either jungle really doing too much either. Gangplank is picking up a lot of lane farm, but that's about it. Ooh, very nice grab. Not able to set up anything with it, though. Heal goes down, and they both go their separate ways. I don't know if he didn't have enough mana or what, but I wanted to see Thresh following in the hook, flaying backwards, and then Gangplank queuing. That would have been enough to kill her. I believe he queued from behind the Braum shield, and that's what cancelled it out and caused them to survive that engage. Good hook. Jinx, a little slow on following that up. You need to work on your Jinx a little bit. You're at melee range, so use the Gatling gun. Follow up with a quick zap in between auto attacks, and then swap over to your rockets at the end of the fight. Again, you probably could have just killed... yeah, just swap over to rockets, harass them with it. Two auto attacks at most would have been enough to clean that up. Alright, Lux getting engaged on. Looks like they're trying to donate blue buff over to her. Honestly, I would not be doing that. Gangplank should take that blue. Just because of how this lane matchup is going to go, she doesn't have any defensive spells, she's not built armor. Blue buff is not going to make her win that lane. Main comments for Lux are just like work on your build order and try to learn to lane without constantly shoving and wasting mana. That's just causing you to be unable to win any trades. As long as the bot doesn't yell at you, that means that you've entered successfully. It does not reply, assuming you enter correctly. So Zed's still building up that nice CS advantage. J4 actually about 10 CS up as well, which is surprising given the amount of lane farm that Gangplank's been taking. I'm also... I would not be building a Razors on Gangplank. I get what he's aiming for, but Lizard Elder is going to give you a really strong early game. And you need that early game if you're going to set up any fights. Honestly, I don't see much point to building a late game auto-attacking item on a champion that needs to be winning the early game. So I dislike that decision. Back bot lane. Still dead even in farm. They have the Cutlass versus the BF sword. No one really getting any real pressure in this lane. I want to see the supports working with their AD carries just a little bit better in order to set these up. So there's a gank going in top lane. Gonna rewind. Yep, J4 lands a great knockup. Alt followed. It's a good attempt by Rumble here, but he's not going to be able to get anything. And kill goes over to Garen. So very good job there. Gangplank tries mid, nothing going to come from it. Honestly, Zed could probably have popped Gangplank there if he wanted to go aggressive, but that would be all dependent on how many cooldowns you're able to bait out from Lux and how ballsy you feel with your current build. I dislike this tier build. I really don't like tier honor. I'd be going for the arm guard. You get 1 point per minute just being in the stream. Oh crap, I apologize. I saw that fight coming and didn't switch over to it. Alright, so they get the slow onto Braum. They get the hook onto Vayne. Great flay onto both of them. The Braum disengage works very nicely, but not quite enough. Not able to pick up anything off of it. I would like to see them taking Dragon off of that. He's pretty low on mana. I understand why they wouldn't have gone for it. So it looks like Jinx really just wants to push in this wave. She does have ult if she's able to get Braum a little bit lower, but you need to be careful you don't get baited by his shield. Her zaps have not been on point this game either. I would just comment on time your skill shots and just work on aiming them just that little bit better. It's not as though they're being crazily outplayed or dodged. She's just not using her skill shots correctly. Or that's my impression. Another gank going in top. This time they blow the Rumble's flash. That's a good advantage to have. So at this point, teams are still pretty much dead even in gold. This camp top lane is working really well versus Rumble just because of how Rumble always has to push with the Flame Spitter and everything. Congratulations to Palindrome. I'll be sending you that code at the end of this game, or actually Brian can send it over here. Alright, so you'll be getting a message from Felvic very soon with that code. We see Gangplank trying for another gank bot. I honestly think he needs to focus more on farming. He's given up his early game trade and kill potential by going for the Wriggles Lantern build. And so as a result, he's sort of pigeonholed into only farming. See a trade going in here. I would expect J4 to be able to come out ahead, but if he just sort of stands and auto-attack trades, I don't know if he's going to be able to do that. Great snipe coming in from Lux. The Jinx tries as well, but great job. Just map awareness on Lux, noticing the fight, following it up with her ult, and getting a very easy kill. So great teamwork there. Ooh, very nice knockback. Oh, there you go, you got the stun. Perfect. Got the extra kill. The condemn is still a couple seconds. Gangplank ult coming down. Vayne mispositioned there, actually. She should have been able to tumble up a little bit and get an auto-attack reset. Auto-attack, Q, auto-attack, auto-attack would have been enough to finish him off. That being said, Gangplank most likely would have cleaned up regardless. Alright, so Brahm's way too far forward with no wards. Okay, he Q'd a minion, so he'll probably live. Yeah, not great focus there on Gangplank's part. I like how Madness is so upset that he didn't win a giveaway. When can you enter the RP giveaway? At the end of this game. Alright, so blue being donated over to Lux again. She does have her arm guard now, so that's a really nice pickup. It's going to help her so much in this lane. Unfortunately, she doesn't quite clean it up, and so it goes over to Gangplank with his passive. These thresh hooks have been very well placed. I just have to give a lot of credit on that. If I was Braum, though, back out just a little bit. Like, you don't need to be that close. You're just tanking all that damage. Okay, I'm not sure if her ult was on cooldown that entire time, but using it at the end of the fight as an escape is not generally what you want to do. J4 is coming in behind, but he's being counter-ganked by... Oof, this is going to be dangerous. Very nice pickup on Jinx. And that should be a very dead J4, although they are definitely going to take him down as well. I'm surprised Jinx didn't go in to help with that. I don't know, that seems an odd choice. Alright, so Zed trading a lot of damage onto Lux. She does not have that blue buff, remember, so she's going to be taken really low. Again, I just dislike this build on her. I dislike her summoner skills, but she's been playing decently well, so I can't really hold it against her. I mean, she does have 2 kills now. Up top lane, it's still a complete farm fest. The fact that Garen's missing out so many of these CS is a little bit disappointing. He's pretty tanky. I mean, he has the items he needs in order to be able to win, but he seems just scared to fight, and that seems odd to me. Yeah, so like you're trading with your Q, but you're not using any of your other skills. If you don't make it an extended trade, you're not a burst champion on Garen. So a little bit worried. Hi there, EPH. Welcome to the stream. Another good hook, but it's on to Braum. Braum's going to block it out very nicely, disengage, and Vayne's just going to go back to farming happily. So it's worth noting that Vayne does have 3 deaths now, but she's still keeping up in farm. So that indicates to me that either Jinx is missing a lot of CS, or Vayne is just setting up a lot of really easy farm for herself. on this lane, I want to see them zoning her. I want to see them not letting her farm. Alright, another good block coming out. I'm really entertained just to watch this lane because they're focusing so much on pushing instead of zoning on purple side. That just seems like a big misplay to me. I'm going to rewind that. I did see that gank going down, but I want to see what they're going to do bot. So Gangplank goes in. They get stuck in tower. Very nice disengage by J4 just to say, okay, I'm not going back in. I'm just going to lock you in tower. Good job on Garen following up and getting a free kill for himself. At this point, Rumble needs to back out. He cannot stay 1v2, especially with his ult and both summoners down. Alright, taking another peek at mid. Good harass coming in from Lux this time. But yeah, you're standing right next to his clone, so you're going to take some extra damage there. You have to be so careful with how you position in Lux versus Zed. It's actually not that difficult to match up. It's just, you can't waste your skills. You have to play passive. Back bot lane. Good disengage. But that's going to be another kill over to Jinx. Great snipe. Alright, Braum needs to back out. He's not going to be able to hold this 1v2. He's not going to stop it getting taken. And if he continues staying, well, they can just engage onto him. I'm not sure why they didn't go in there. I mean, obviously J4 is coming down, so it's a good thing they didn't. But they didn't have that warded out, and they did use the exhaust, so that would indicate to me that you want to fight. But then they just sort of backed out and didn't trade. Nice little minion steal there. That being said, now you're in 2v3. Great condemn. That's the stun going down from the Braum passive. Heal gets procced for the speed buff, and in they go. So that's going to be 2 people dead before Gangplank actually gets there, and then he's going to be immediately stunned as well. So that's just one of the issues of trying to follow up a fight after it's already lost. You need to be able to make that distinction and not waste time. Oh, not quite able to get it. So Vayne tumbled into the wall instead of around it, so that was just a very slight misplay that could have got her that extra kill. I also would like to see them taking Dragon off that advantage, seeing as they did send the jungler back. I would use the sweeper slightly lower personally, but either way, good job just making that distinction, making that call to not only take the Dragon, but to make sure you can take it safely, so that you're not going to get Jinx ulted. Good job. In the meantime, Lux getting taken pretty damn low in that. She does have Hourglass finished, though. Alright, so now purple team is collapsing on mid. I want to see blue team setting something up off of this. When you see a team collapsing like this, you have a decision. Do we have enough wave clear to just sort of turn this into wasted time on their part? If you do, then I would like to see some split push happening. For example, let's say Garen going aggro and trying to bully him out so he can take top tower, because you're not going to get any real damage onto the tower. In this case, though, they don't have any significant wave clear. So I want to see them deciding, okay, can we counter this with our own team fight and just like a well-timed collapse? Or do we need to collapse in behind them and catch them out, pinch them into our tower? How long will workshop last? We generally do 3 to 4 games every Sunday. Good flash coming out. Nice lantern attempt, but not quite doing anything. Good flay. I would not have walked back in, though. I would have walked back towards my tower immediately. Instead, he gets stunned out and is going to be taken down. In the meantime, Zed picks up a free kill onto Lux, and that's just a significant amount of being out of position. Like, purple team, she got caught next to wall. You're trying to fight a Vayne, and you're standing next to a wall. That's not going to work out for you. So at the point you flashed out. Okay, that's fine. Thresh did a very nice disengage, but then continued to try and walk in a 1v4. You can't win that fight. You need to back out towards your own tower. Then Lux, again, trying to go back in and save allies who are already dead. You need to cut your losses. You need to identify a lost team fight, and... Wait, where did he ult? Okay, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, you need to identify a lost team fight and make the best of it, whether that's picking off one kill, escaping yourself and leaving your allies for dead, taking an objective while your allies die. Like, you need to make something happen with that loss. Alright, so J4 is ganking top again, but he's standing on a ward. If Rumble gets caught in this, I'd be very disappointed in him. It's good. I don't have to use my disappointed face. Hey, very nice collapse. I don't know why Zed went back in, though. I think he could have escaped that with just a little bit better timing. Alright, so the blue team's trying to collapse. They're a little split, though. Like, I would expect Vayne to get taken down here. Okay, the hook goes on to Braum instead. J4 does have his ult blocking them inside. Thresh zoning out Vayne naturally with a decent amount of success. At this point, though, Vayne is focusing a rather tanky support rather than helping her team. She needs to regroup with Braum. I mean, that's a great kill, but now you're walking in 1v3. That's not going to work out well for you. I don't like the decision to use that ult at that point. Alright, so Vayne and Braum need to be more in sync. The whole point of the Vayne Braum pick is that he protects you late game. That's not going to happen if you're completely other side of the lane. Alright, Zed getting a lot of damage in here. J4 comboing in perfectly. That's a dead Gangplank. And now Lux is just sort of splitting off by herself. Blue team, little bit of lack of focus here. I think, yeah, J4 is going to be able to pick that up on his own, but Lux is going to be able to survive. So you need to be calling which target you're going for, and your team needs to go on the same target as you are. In this case, he is able to pick it up regardless, but that could have gone a completely different direction if purple team was maybe able to get the Thresh in there just in time and save her or something. Again, giveaway is open at the end of this game. This Garen is still very scared to fight, and I don't know, I don't like that. Well, Garen hasn't really fought in this lane at all. He's just sort of sitting under tower and setting up just farm. I mean, he's got a few kills because of the fact that, well, ganks come in, and you're versus a pushed opponent with no mobility. So, I mean, that works out nicely. But he needs to be able to set something up across the entire map. You're not shutting down Rumble. You're just getting a little bit of extra gold off of him. And I mean, he does have teleport. I want to see him teleporting into some fights, maybe setting up some ganks, and making some plays happen for his team. So Vayne landing some good damage there. Thresh could have comboed that better, though. I think you guys killed Nightbot. Alright, sorry. I was trying to set up Nightbot again. Good kill going on to Vayne. Oh my goodness. Alright, so this is working now. Zed, oh, caught out. Lux lands a very nice binding onto him and is able to pick up the kill. Now J4 trying to follow up. I want to see if Lux is able to land a second binding here, because it's up in 1 second. Great binding. Can follow through with alt. Nope, not needed. Great job. Purple team is making some great picks for themselves, but they're just overstaying a little bit too long. Lux needed to back out earlier, to be honest. Need to throw binding behind you as you're doing that, but she waited just a little too long and got taken down as a result. Yeah, purple team is making good picks for themselves, but they're not actually going to win a fight. Sorry, they're overstaying is what I was trying to go for. They're getting good picks, and then they're just sort of staying and continuing to chase after they've used all of their element of surprise. They're not going to surprise anyone at that point. They're just going to get caught out, and that's what happened there. Yes, Nightbot is very sleepy. Probably. No, it's not dead. Because it doesn't respond to you. It doesn't respond to moderators. Oh. Oh. Alright, sorry about that. This is working again. I'm gonna swap this over to directed camera. Alright, so at this point, there's about a 3 to 4,000 gold advantage over on blue team. A decent amount of gold is onto Vayne right now, so I mean she's really far ahead. She needs to be able to be protected and set up some team fights. So I want to see them catching purple team in a tight formation, setting up, let's say, a Braum ult and being able to clean up very quickly. That was a good pick, but you're going to be taken down by the Jinx ult. Very nice. Lux has been playing very well with her bindings this game. I have to give him credit for that. Good decision to not fight that on
Purple team's turret has been destroyed.
Oh my goodness. Garen. I want to call him Jace for some reason. I don't know why. But yeah, that was a very good decision not to fight. At that point, that's what I was talking about earlier, where cutting your losses. If a team fight is lost, if a skirmish is lost, don't walk in just because, oh well, my team will yell at me if I don't show up. Yeah, but the fight's already lost. You're not going to 1v3. So, blue team taking out a dragon for themselves. Very good decision. Thresh is in range, and I can't see who took it. Yeah, Vayne. I could have just looked at the icon. Lux landing some good poke in there. Ult goes down onto Braum, not hitting Vayne, but they are going to take this very, very low. Ooh, very nice flash. I would have liked to see Jinx swap 2 rockets earlier, though, because she could have hit them from a little bit farther away. Nah, that flash not quite going to be able to set anything up. And now, same problem as before, where they're getting some good picks from themselves, but they're not able to make anything happen with it. Gangplank is able to pick up a kill onto Zed, and Braum should fall soon after, assuming... Yep. Unless that happens. His J4 has been using his ult very effectively, so good job on that. That's definitely one of the strengths I'm seeing on his play. Taking away buffs anytime you can. Great opportunity. I would just warn them, make sure you have the timer on it. Oh, so they're not actually going to clear that. I dislike that choice. If you're taking away an enemy buff, you always clear the camp so you have the timer on it. You want to steal it more than once. So Lux is going to get the blue buff this time. I'm interested to see what she builds into. Oh, sorry, she has the Morellonomicon now. Okay. That's a good source of CDR, seeing as she is going for a tier build. I actually really like that choice. That being said, she's not versus a heal comp. I would be fine with this build if she was versus, let's say, an all-heal team, and she needed armor in lane, and she was snowballing. But that wasn't really the case, so I'm still a little bit down on her build. Braum definitely shaping up to be a very, very tanky man. Vayne's condemns have been a little bit off this game. Also, getting caught by a lot of hooks. I've complimented the hooks already, but the fact that you're getting hit by so many of them is not a good sign. I want to see the hourglass going down right now. Alright. Not happening. She needs to be using her hourglass more effectively. You drop your entire combo, detonate it, then Hourglass so you can reset for a second set of cooldowns. And that doesn't seem to be how she's using it here. Not quite able to connect that time. Garen coming in from behind should be able to pick up a free kill onto Rumble. Nope. Flash goes down, saves him, and Gangplank shows up for the counter gank. Alright, sorry about that, I changed the text. Yeah, that giveaway's been over for a long time. I want to see Vayne picking up a defensive item next. Looks like she's going for Infinity Edge. That seems a bold choice before Last Whisper or any defensive item. So Zed's sort of on the sidelines, Gangplank coming in though. Good slow going down, peeling him off. I want to see a ward dropped in that bush as you're running away from it so that you can make the decision to either re-engage or to simply avoid any of their plays. They did ward it in the end, so good job. Jinx coming down, Dragon is in, still 2 minutes away. Hook not quite connecting this time. Brom's in a great position to peel, but the Lux ult, very well played on her part. She pretty much just salvaged that team fight, even though, yeah, in the end they go 1 for 1 and disengage it. If it was not for that Lux ult, they would have just been collapsed on and just eaten for dinner. Oh, good comment, actually. Yeah, no sweepers on purple team. That's really not good. There's no reason whatsoever to not get a sweeper once you have your Sightstone completed. Same thing on junglers. After your initial clear, you generally swap out for a sweeper. A first, second, third clear, whichever. Same, I would say on Lux. At this stage of the game, she should also have a sweeper, because she's going to be able to want to snipe people from high range. If you're standing in a bush, well, if it's warded, you're probably going to be collapsed on. You're not going to be able to set up those snipes. Map control is very, very potent. Sorry, I had to switch screens for a second. So Zed off to the side. I'm a little bit questioning of his playstyle at the moment. Is he trying to assassinate from behind? Yeah, that definitely looks to be what he's doing. But because he's so far behind, the fight's almost over by the time he gets in range. That being said, Vayne's going really ham. It works out for them, but again, the point of a Braum-Vayne combo is that Brain protects Vom. Sorry, Braum protects Vayne. In the end, that was a very reputed team fight by blue team, but it's only because they were so far ahead that they were able to set that up. I would have liked to see Vayne sticking behind Braum and Braum positioning more aggressively so that he can continue to soak up damage and CC. I would have liked to see exactly what Zed did there, except I want to make sure that they're on the same page in terms of how they're positioning and when they're engaging. So that was a very good option, and it was very well executed. It just seemed like it was going to be a little bit sloppy. But because they have so much of an advantage, it does not matter. You missed the first giveaway, but we're doing the RP giveaway at the end of this game. Alright, great decision to take away Baron. They're going to be hit by a boom, Jinx ult. Doesn't really matter though, they're going to take this down very, very quickly, and then they need to recall, set up the next fight, and preferably end the game. At this point, mid inhib is down. You have Baron. there's no objectives left on the map worth really contesting on this side, except for towers. So I want to see Garen doing what he was doing earlier in the game, just constantly splitting up top. Alternatively, Zed can do that, because he can duel pretty much anyone at this stage. I then want to see the rest of them pushing bot lane. Braum is very, very good at counter-sieging. So basically what I mean by that is just sort of standing well ahead of his team and making sure that your team doesn't get poked down while they siege. I need to think of a better term for that, because it's not really counter-sieging. But regardless, he is good at doing that. So I want to see him sort of frontline, defending his team while someone split pushes another lane. Alternatively, you could collapse on Dragon here and set up a very easy team fight for yourself. Looks like that's what they're aiming for now. Braum does get the ward over, but yeah, the ult goes down, but the team's not quite in position to follow up yet. I would have saved that ult, because it's best used as a disengage. It's better when you're in close range. Alright, Lux ult goes through, not really landing much damage this time. Vayne, again, I want to see her sticking behind her team. Bushbait would not work here. You're all pretty low. Yeah, and you're just going to get collapsed on like this. The heal goes down to try and collapse. Yeah, just take away the tower. It's free. You don't like Banshees on Braum? Banshees on Braum is awesome. You have to remember, his shield only soaks up one skill. So basically, it makes him absorb 2 skills instead of 1. Alright, good re-engage from J4. Vayne getting a lot of damage through. Zed not actually contributing to this fight, but it doesn't matter because Vayne is so far ahead and they're protecting her so well at this stage of the game. That's going to be a quadra kill for Vayne. No Penta Insight, unfortunately, for her. And I would expect them to just end the game here. There's no reason for them to delay this. You have 40 seconds on the respawn timer, so just boom, end the game. A very, very good job. Surrender comes out. Well, yes, they could have ended earlier in the game. It's still very nice to see a team not just sort of messing around. We see that a lot in workshops, and it's hard to tell if they're being serious or not. But it's like, dude, just like end the game. You can do it right now. And they finally did do that, so I really, really appreciate that. Why do I usually watch games instead of playing games? I play a lot of games. We do workshop games 1 day a week. This is the only time that I watch people play is on Sundays. Every other day of the week, I generally stream my own gameplay, whether that's viewer games, solo queue, duos, etc. Thank you, Crash. I'm glad you like it. Anyways, so we are going to comment on final item builds. I commented on playstyle throughout the game, so I'm not going to really go into that too much. Vayne, I didn't see if she completed the Infinity Edge or Last Whisper. I didn't see which one got finished first, but she had all the components for Infinity Edge before she had components for Last Whisper or before it was completed. So I'd have liked to see that a little bit earlier. I also would not have minded seeing something like a Banshee's Veil on her to make sure that she wasn't going to get caught out or get taken down too easily. Overall, great job there. I would have liked to see her sticking behind Braum, though, just because that combo works so well. It worked out for her because she was so far ahead, but I think that could have been played just a little bit more smoothly. If you were behind, a lot of the gameplay styles that she was using would not have worked out. Regardless, in this game, though, it did. Garen, I would have suggested using your teleport. You needed to be able to influence the rest of the map. Obviously, in this game you didn't, but it's something to keep in mind in the future. In terms of build, very tanky utility build with a decent amount of damage. So I'm fine with it. It's okay. Braum, someone commented on not liking Banshee's Veil. I think it's fine. Just because you can Banshee's Veil something and then still follow up with a shield, or shield then Banshee's Veil. I'm not sure the interaction on that. It's possible that because the CC of the first skill flows through the shield on your E, it's possible that it also pops Banshee's Veil. If it doesn't, then I like it. If it does, then meh, it's questionable. Zed's build is fine. I don't have any huge complaints with it. Could have been a little bit more in sync with your team just in how you were setting up assassinations, but in the end it worked very, very well. Jinx, I would have liked to see you harassing more, zoning Vayne. You should have been able to win that lane, especially with the number of hooks that were landing on. But Oh, sorry, double locket. Double locket's fine. You care about the active on it more so than the passive. It's also good in that situation because Jarvan is diving into the team, whereas Braum is in the back line. So the auras aren't really overlapping. They're too far away from each other. It has a relatively short radius. So I'm fine with double locket, especially versus that much mixed damage and magic damage. But overall, very good. But yeah, in terms of Jinx, I wanted to see her harassing more. Rumble, his build is really standard, very high damage based. In terms of playstyle, you're pushing a lot with very few wards. Obviously, that's going to get you ganked, and that's not really good. You weren't able to kill anyone, so I would have liked to see you trying to harass and freeze when possible. Obviously, that's difficult to do on Rumble, but that's one of Rumble's issues, so it's something you need to adjust for in the long term. I had some issues with Lux's build, mostly Tear. I don't like Tear on Lux. I also really dislike Ignite, but in the long term, she had some good map awareness. She set up some good plays. I'm concerned, though. She didn't build any Void Staff or Source Boots. You need that mid-game penetration if you're going to keep your magic damage relevant. And there's no magic pen coming out from her, so that's definitely a misplay. I dislike Feral Flare on Gangplank. If you're going to play Gangplank, you need to be dominating early to mid-game. And so that usually boils down to building a Lizard Elder, so that you have that extra damage, and then building into, well, like he did, Static Shiv or Hydra or Trinity Force, whatever he wants. I mean, he can build pretty much anything and do okay. But I really don't like the late game Feral Flare auto attack setup when you're not going to be able to be in range and auto attack late game. Thresh landed some really good hooks. I would have suggested just working with your AD carry a little bit more, trying to set up ways that you can get ahead in lane. I think there just weren't that many plays that were being followed up by between the two of you. Thresh landed good hooks, but Jinx wasn't generally harassing when they went down. Jinx landed some pretty good traps and harass, but it was always when Thresh wasn't in position to follow up. So you need to work with your support, work with your AD carry, and